Michael Cheika has named his 31-man squad for the 2019 Rugby World Cup. The Wallabies. It's an interesting one. There are some guys who have made it into the squad who perhaps haven't played all that much rugby, and some guys who've played pretty well this season who haven't quite ended up making it. So we'll go through the guys who are there, and you guys can let me know your thoughts on the squad and where there could have been potential additions or subtractions. But unless any injuries come along, this is the squad. So forwards, you got three hookers in Ulisi, Fainga, and Latu. Ulisi is probably the guy I'm talking about when I'm saying hasn't played all that much rugby. The guy has had some of the worst luck with injuries of any player that you'll ever see. So if I was Tafu Plotter now, I wouldn't exactly be eating too many pies and getting ready for a cruisy September, October, because you just never know. But they have gone with three hookers, so they do have the spare one in case somebody goes down. Slipper, Sio, Kepu, Tupo, Ala Alatoa are the five props. Most of the squads seem to be doing five props, so that's kind of no difference there. How they're going to go in terms of who's going to miss out on the starting spots, I'm not quite sure. The Brumbies guys did pretty well, so that's kind of reflected in the selections there. They were the top Aussie Super Rugby team, and their scrum was, plus their maul, one of their more effective attacking weapons. So I guess that's kind of reflected in the selections there. Locks, Simmons, everyone's favourite. He still made the cut, along with Coleman, Rodder, and Arnold. So four specialist locks. Coleman's had a touch of injuries towards the tail end of the season. Rodder has been pretty consistent. Arnold is, well, I think he missed like the last game against the All Blacks, but he's been far and away probably my favourite Australian lock to watch, maybe for a couple of years now. The guy is tall, and apart from that, he's also got very good skills in the air. One of the best line-out operators in the game in terms of securing your own ball, and he's also decent at pilfering a wee bit of ball in the air as well. So whilst you got the likes of Pocock who might be able to get it done on the ground, if you can get it done one step earlier, even better at disrupting your opponent's play. So yeah, interesting. They couldn't get Will Skelton back. There was talk about that happening, but it didn't seem to ever really materialize. So I get the feeling if Skelton had been available, then maybe he would be in for Simmons. I can't see him being in for anybody else. Salakai Aloto, so I've abbreviated his name there because it's long and my whiteboard, well, I never know how the spacing is going to go. But Salakai Aloto's there. He can also cover lock when needs be. David Pocock is one of the guys I'm talking about. Hasn't really played a whole lot of rugby. Didn't play a single minute of the Rugby Championship and hasn't played since the first half of the Super Rugby season, maybe even the first quarter of the Super Rugby season. It's been a long time since that guy's, I think it was calf injury, has really just kept him out of rugby. But he's world class, so you take him. I feel like the All Blacks are probably going to do the same with the likes of Brodie Retallick. Your best players, you take a gamble on them becoming fit because you'd rather have them maybe come quarterfinals time than not take them at all. So yep, Pocock's in the squad. Hooper is there as captain. That was never going to change. He was always going to be there. So whether they revert to playing Hooper and Pocock there at 7 and 8 will also be one to watch. Dempsey makes the squad, which is nice to see, and Izzy Naisarani is there as well. Genuine number 8, which is something they don't really have when they play Hooper and Pocock. So if Pocock comes fit and he's fit to play, how well do they operate when they're pretty much playing 2 7s compared to a genuine 7 and a genuine 8? Remains a question. The backs, Guinea and White are the only two halfbacks that are going. So 2 number 9s, scrum halves, for the Wallabies. That means Joe Powell doesn't make the cut. I feel a wee bit sorry for that guy, but throughout the course of the Rugby Championship, you kind of got the idea that it was going to be this way. Foley, Liliafano are your 2 specialist 10s, although Liliafano's played 12 quite some time ago. Tamua is probably there covering a wee bit of both, 10 and 12, so kind of 3 10s, but also a midfield cover. There's probably no team in the world that has as many guys who can play 10 as this team, because Foley and Liliafano do, Tamua does, O'Connor has, Reece Hodge has and Kurtley Beale has. Half your backs can pretty much play number 10, so playmaking should be galore in this Wallabies team. Karevi, genuine tackle-busting midfielder, so it's good to have him along. James O'Connor's road to redemption continues. He's been, well, that game against the All Blacks anyway, he played pretty well the first one. That second game didn't go well for the Wallabies in general, but to have him in the squad is probably a good thing. Seems to have his head in the right space, which is a good thing. Tavita Kurandrani's there. Whether they play him and Karevi in the same starting lineup seems unlikely. They'll probably play Karevi and then maybe Kurandrani against the lesser teams with all respect intended. But I guess we'll see. AAC is there. Adama Cooper or Two Dads. He's maybe a guy who's a bit lucky to be in the squad, given that he came back. He's getting on. It's not like he set the world on fire in Super Rugby, but he's a classy guy to have around. I think that's kind of why Cheika wants him there, perhaps as a bit of a guy who's been there and done that World Cup final. So yeah, a guy who's been around the blocks to walk through some of the younger guys, the likes of Jordan Petaia, another guy who missed pretty much the entire Super Rugby season with injury, still makes the World Cup squad. So you can kind of see that with the likes of Pocock, but Petaia is purely there on potential. So yeah, if he can handle the pressure, he's definitely a dynamic young player who's going to go places. Also needs to stay injury-free. Marika Korobidi, Reece Hodge, who can cover half the back line if they ever want to play just with two backs on the bench. Dane Haylett-Petty and Kurtley Beale round out the lineup. So obviously no Israel Folau with those issues he's having with Australian rugby. Who else didn't make it? Joe Powell, like I mentioned. Tatafu Polatanau, like I mentioned. Pete Samu probably left the Crusaders to go back to the Brumbies with an eye on getting to a World Cup. That has not materialised for him. Tom Banks is probably the hardest done by of all the guys I can think of, because that guy, he's a pretty good player. Had a pretty good season in Super Rugby for the Brumbies. Can't get in ahead of the likes of Petaia, who didn't really play that much at all, but Petaia can also cover the midfield. Their midfield options, I guess, AAC, Kurandrani, yeah, pretty well covered. As I said, 10 options are definitely well covered. It's just 9 where they haven't really taken a whole lot of depth. And also loose forwards, Naisarani, Dempsey, Hooper, Pocock with those injuries, and Salakai Lotto, so only 5 loose forwards, but yeah, I guess we'll see how things go. Latu could pretty much play as a loose forward if needs be, to be fair. That guy at the breakdown is very effective. But yeah, that's the Wallabies squad. You guys let me know your thoughts on it. How do you think they're going to go? Do you think Cheika and the other 2 selectors have got the balance of the team right? Do you think they've taken risks in the right places? Yeah, you guys let me know your thoughts. I'll talk to you again soon. See you later.